Here. Okay, we'll give them a second to, if anyone's going to log in, they can watch it later. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start with the Vokabel. Okay, so Vokabel für nächste Woche, Thursday or Friday will be your quiz, depending on what section you're in. And I think this is the right, yes, it is. So this should be on the screen. Good. These are all new words, so I mean, maybe a couple of them we've had in some of the time, but bathrobe is Bademantel. Bademantel. And baden is to bathe. Sich, it's actually reflexive, sich baden. And mantel is a coat, like you wear a coat in the wintertime. But this is this kind of coat, though, a bath coat, bathrobe. Slippers is die Hausschuhe. House shoes, all it is. Comb. Der Kamm. Lipstick. That we had before. What is this here? Remember this word? Stift. So this one is Lippenstift. A lip marker. Razor.
Oh, I know the verb.
Yeah, so it comes from the verb sich rasieren, and the thing is called Rasierer. Der Rasierer. Shaving cream, it's the same Rasierschaum. Again, from this Rasieren, Rasierer, Rasierschaum. Schaum means foam. So that's all it is, shaving foam, I guess. I've also seen now more frequently, I've seen it, Rasier gel. That's another word they have also. So it's like, like that green stuff. All right. Pajamas, I've already checked. They don't sell these in adult sizes. When I got the picture, I checked it online real quick. But pajamas, der Schlafanzug. Schlafen, to sleep. Soap. Some fancy soap there. Die Seife. Toothbrush. This is two words we know. So what was the word? Okay, Zahn is tooth. And the word for brush? Bürste. Actually, we had that in German 1. That's a long time ago. But sich bürsten is to brush your hair. One of our words today. I didn't use it, but it's on the list. But so that comes from brush. So a toothbrush is a Zahnbürste. Arm. Der Arm. Eye. Das Auge. Stomach is a new word. Der Bauch. It's not really the medical word. It's just the word for this whole kind of area here. Bauch, leg. Das Bein. Elbow. I like this word. Ellenbogen. Bogen is a bow, even like what you hunt with. It's also bow, like, what's a Regenbogen? No? Regen? Rainbow. Yeah, Regenbogen. An arch is called a bogen, also, like architecturally, that's called a bogen. But L, because you make kind of an L shape with your, right there. And so it's right there. L, that's how they name it. This is easy. Der Finger. Foot. Maybe you know this word from other words. Sorry? Like there's a certain sport where you use your feet. Very popular in the rest of the world. Fußball. Fuß. Football. Face. Look at that. Look at that. Das Gesicht. Neck. Or also means throat too. Der Hals. Knee. It's very close to English. Knie. Just make that I. You have to have the I to make an E sound. But in German, you got to pronounce the K and the N, yeah? This must be a horrible thing for Germans to learn about, oh, well, yeah, you say the N, but not the letter in front of the M is silent. They're like, huh? Can I still get in Chinese? Head. Der Kopf. So in Fußball, what's a Kopfball? Right. Mouth, ugly. Der Mund, just one letter off. Put an O in there. Nose, he knows everything. Die Nase. Ear, das Ohr. Toe, der Zeh. This one we just, Zik, it's reflexive. You're fine. Was it in the last list?
No.
We just seen it
You
though.
talked about it.
Yep.
It wasn't in the-
Zik Kazirhan. Towel, it's kind of a weird word, towel, because it looks like, Handtuch looks like it means hand towel. And to us, that's something different, like what you just wipe your hands off with or something. Or like in the kitchen, maybe you have hand, but this is the word for towel, like a full-size towel, Handtuch. This verb to put on makeup is reflexive. Sich schminken, body. The whole thing, the whole body is called der Körper. And I told the other class that this comes from the Latin word corpus. You heard that before? Corpus Christi, like the city,
yeah.
body of Christ. That's a Latin word for corpus in law. If there's a murder, it helps your case a lot. If you're the prosecutor, if you have a corpus, it's hard to prove a murder without a body somewhere, you know. Although people that does happen though. They have enough evidence anyway. But that comes from the Latin though, corpus, and it's all right. Bathroom. This whole thing is. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Badezimmer. Good. Okay, so that's vocabulary for next Woche, next Friday for you. Everyone else who's listening, that's next Thursday for the rest of the people here. I got a few people logged on here. I don't know if I can find who they are. I can't. Oh, comments. Jace, he's here, and two other people. All right. So that's that. I'm going to show you what I gave the. That's not it. That's not it. None of this is it. I'll find it. Okay. The screen. All right, let me share this there with them. Flexive verbs. Okay. So when we use the reflexive verbs in sentences now, of course, they've got to be conjugated with the subject. We got to put the right ending. Most of these examples, most of them I'll give you the ending. But in a statement, at least, not in a question, but in a statement, let me back that up a little bit. I lost the word. Okay. We're going to have the order be subject, verb, and after the verb right after the verb, that's where the reflexive pronoun is going to go. So it doesn't go in a question, it might be reversed because the subject and verb are reversed, but here we'll have some examples. So if some of these phrases like sich die Zähne putzen they give you a DO in the phrase. Like I told the class, you can't just say I'm brushing. What are you doing? I'm brushing. Yeah, unless they already kind of know you're brushing your teeth. But you have to say I'm brushing my teeth. I'm brushing my hair. We have to almost kind of automatically include a direct object. So that's kind of built in. So we're already in this area of yes DO, no DO. And in this case, with the first one here, there is a DO. What you're brushing are your teeth. So what would be so if it's based off the subject, if ich is your subject, then what's going to be your reflexive pronoun? Right, mir, and why is that? There is a DO? Right, and ich is the subject. You have two choices. It could have been mich or mir. You're right. What about this one? I'll just change the subject. Du putzt blank die Zähne. I'm gonna highlight, or not highlight, but I'm gonna boldface the ending so we don't forget. Ich putze, du putzt, and there is a DO just like in the first one. And what would that be then? I'll give you a hint. The two choices in the first one were mich or mir. The two choices with do are, think about those two words, mich, mir, they kind of rhyme almost. Dich and deer. So what's going to work here? Mir worked up here. Deer is a good guess, right? And so as you look at that chart in the book or from what I have on the board, you'll see that the only time you really have to be concerned about direct object or no direct object is with these two words, ich and du. Nothing else really. Everything else, you just have to know what the reflexive pronoun is. Here's how I use Grayson's name. So what about when we talk about a guy who's brushing his teeth? Then what do we use? Sich. In fact, if it's not, I'm going to say this again, who's ever listening from first other section. If it's not one of the pronouns in the list, like ich, du, sie, wir, ihr, all those, if it's a person's name, it's a other kind of noun, it's a subject, or even multiple, like a plural subject, people's names or places or thoughts or whatever, reflexive pronoun is going to be sich. So sich is really used the most. So Grayson, I put it in the wrong place here though. Grayson putzt, and the sich goes right here after the verb, not, and these are all statements, so putzt sich die Zähne. I'll talk about questions in a minute. Here I gave this, wir bürsten. So is there a DO in this sentence? Okay, take a look at we're brushing. What's this word over here? Can you see that? Right. Is that a DO? Is it what you're brushing?
Yes.
So would that be a DO?
Yes.
It is a DO. That is right. So wir bürsten. So the other question then is, but it doesn't really matter if there's a DO, but it's good to know there is one, because wir is the subject and what's always the reflexive pronoun for wir, no matter what. No, it's a good guess though, because it's the other weird one. It's uns. Yeah, wir bürsten. I'm going to underline the verb ending. Here it was a T. I know that's something we haven't talked about in a while, or at least since last March. I'll underline this one too. Not sure why they're giving me a red line. Grammarly does not know German apparently. Ihr duscht. What would be the reflexive pronoun? If ihr, that's what you'd have said a minute ago. Euch. And does it matter if there's a DO? Now, I'll tell you that I don't know how there could be a DO in this sentence, this one, because you're showering. You know, you wouldn't say, oh, I'm showering my feet, or I'm showering my hands. We just don't say that, right? You're either showering or you're not. And so there's a lot of these, and I talked about this yesterday to the class, is that, they're called intransitive verbs. Some verbs are intransitive. They rarely, if ever, take a direct object. Most verbs are transitive. They can take a direct. So here, sich putzen, that's sich bürsten. That's going to be teeth or hair or something else you're brushing. Those are transitive. But there's some that are not. Like, well, we'll come across some others, but this is one of them for sure. That you're showering. Now, if you were working as a nurse's aide and you were showering, helping somebody else in the shower, that wouldn't be a reflexive verb then, because you're helping someone else. But if you yourself or other people are showering themselves, then and that's usually the case, right? Okay, let's. I need an ending on this verb here. I gave multiple subjects: David, Philip, Ken, and Michael. With all those people, what verb ending do we get? So en, right? Rasieren. And with all those people, what's going to be the reflexive? That's right. Now, is it possible that those people are shaving some part of their body and not another part? And they're mentioning it for some reason. Yes. So, same people. David, Philip, Ken, Michael. What was it again? What's going to be the ending on rasier? Same thing. Rasieren. Now I have a DO. They're shaving their legs. Right? They're on the swim team. They're cutting their time by milliseconds. I don't know. They're Tour de France bikers. Yeah, they do that kind of stuff, you know? Yeah, that like milliseconds is the difference between the gold jersey and the gold medal for sure, and the gold jersey in Tour de France. But David, so what's going to be now? I got a do. Now what's the reflexive pronoun? Still sich. Still sich. I can try to fool you with the inflection of my voice. Did not work. Let's throw in and again I'm going to underline the ending on the verb so we know. And this would be the ending on this one. Okay. All right. So John rasiert blank den Unterarm. Still sich. Across the set, we're just talking about somebody else doing something. Third person singular, third person plural. No matter, it's not one of our pronouns like in the next one. Here I've got do. That's going to be a bit different. And do's one of the two that can have really options. Let's move on to that then. Here we've got do. Oh, that's going to be st as the ending actually. If I can get to that. Du rasierst. Now what's das Gesicht?
Here.
Sorry?
Oh, hair.
Close, face, right. So du rasierst.
No, not the here.
Deer. And why deer? Because it's a direct object. And it actually makes a difference here, right? If there's a direct object. Because of the subject, do. And do, again, the ending for when we use do on the verb is st. That's one thing to remember. That's a really important thing. So we go back. Oh, the subject's do. So there's could be some real issue here. It could be dich or deer. There is a do. We go with deer is right. Here's one that is very common today to hear. So with ich, we end the verb with e. Ich wasche. And now, what's this word? This is the plural of something you just had.
Hand.
Right, plural, hands. But is it a do? Is it what you're washing? Okay. Ich wasche mir. Sehr gut. Wasche mir die Hände. What is being washed? Very good. Now, for the other class, they saw some of these things already. Let me talk about questions. Let's take this one here. I'm going to copy and paste a little bit so I have to write it all down. What about questions? All right. Let's make this a little bit separate. Okay. It's a question. It's set up differently because the verb's going to come first. Remember that formula? So let me just put it there for those people who don't remember. Verb plus subject equals question. But it makes it a little bit weird here with the reflexive pronoun because now the reflexive pronoun is not going to come. It's not going to be next to the verb anymore. It's going to be next to the subject now, because we don't. This is kind of an immutable rule. We don't change that at all. I should probably put it in font 14, this, and maybe even with red lettering. No, red lettering, red background with bright green. There we go. We don't change that. But rasierst, and the subject is still do. Rasierst du dir das Gesicht? The reflexive pronoun is still dir in the question because there's a do. It's dir mainly because, or also because the subject is do, but we changed the verb order around. And we put the reflexive pronoun the closest we could to the verb. But because of this immutable law of German, we can't slip it in between here. We got to keep our verb and subject together. Rasierst du dir das Gesicht? Let's look at others here. Let's talk about John und den Unterarm. I don't know if Tour de France bikers shave their underarms. It seems like that wouldn't create as much drag, but swimmers might, you know. Let's say I'm going to just put a capital R on that. And what was the subject again? John. So we've got verb plus subject. And where does the reflexive pronoun go? After the subject in a question. Rasiert John sich den Unterarm? What if I change this to er? Like we know we're talking about John. Let's call him he. Still sich, right? What if John is not John? We're talking about Ellie now. We'll say sie. Still sich. And what if I change all of this and say wir? Uns, right. Rasieren. Are we shaving our underarms? Is that part of the hazing ceremony? I don't know. All right. Rasieren wir uns den Unterarm? Yes. Rasieren wir uns das Gesicht? Good. Okay. Let's find one more for some subjects. Let's do with all these people here. This big long subject. So let's take the verb from here. Now, does it still give the full verb with all this long plural subject? It does, yeah. That doesn't change from subject from question to statement. If the subject stays the same, the verb form stays the same. It just changes places. Rasieren, David, Philip, Kenneth, Michael. Is that still the reflexive pronoun? It is. And that now becomes a question because we have here a verb plus a subject, 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 and subject. And that equals a, not plus, and not that either. Oh, my formula. This is where I mess up and I shouldn't be talking about mathematics. Subject, right? Here I've got a verb. Oops. I got a VV. Only one verb. I've got a subject. In this case, I've got a DO also. I'll throw that in. But the important thing is this equals a question like that. One up here, let's say I've got a subject plus a verb, and that equals a statement, right? Good. There's our formula there. I'll make it just as immutable here. Yep. Not even Google Docs can change this fact now. It lives forever. Okay. That sound pretty reasonable? Good. Now, there are in the book what they call them reciprocal verbs. That is the real term for them. But here they take verbs that we already know, or verbs that we maybe had before, and they get used like reflexive verbs. So I just give 3 examples, but I think it's on, I want to say page 27 in the book. I could be wrong about that. These 3 I use as examples. I have a whole list there. But fragen is normally to ask, or ask a question. Treffen is to meet. Küssen is to kiss. If you want to say, let's say fragen. Do I have any more here? No, okay. Fragen. I could say, This actually is a common phrase. Ich frage mich, which literally would mean like I'm asking myself. And this sentence might continue, probably, but it would translate as I am asking myself, or maybe even more colloquially, I am wondering. Does that make sense? I'm wondering. That's what we do when we ask ourselves stuff, right? And so, but I'm asking myself, this means something you're doing internally, you're doing to yourself. To sich treffen would mean, normally treffen's to meet, but if you're meeting up with somebody else and you want to mention that, say, ja, wir treffen uns 4 Uhr, okay? We use the reflexive because I'm asking myself, we're meeting each other, right? We're both involved, not just, I'm mentioning, now, probably when you're meeting somebody else, right? But that's always the case. But if you want to say we're meeting each other, or if you want to say I'm asking myself instead of my asking, or what about, let's say the same thing with this, wir küssen. Well, that makes sense. We're kissing, but then what about we're kissing each other? What's that going to be? Uns. Have to be uns, right? And so it's possible, the same rules, they throw it in here because the same rules for reflexive work with these reciprocal verbs where we can say that two people are doing something with each other, meeting each other, kissing each other, or a person to themselves. So you can't meet yourself and you can't really kiss yourself, but there might be other verbs that would involve just you. But when you use those, though, and a lot of times I think they really are with the subject wir, because there's, or some other plural subject, because it's usually has to be maybe a lot of times two people. Let's say like, I don't have the book. Let's just say sich treffen again, and I want to talk about other people meeting. So I would say their meeting. I might say Sie treffen, what would that be then? Right, Sie treffen sich heute Nachmittag, this afternoon. Okay, so, right. Normally treffen works on its own without reflexive, but they're meeting each other. So in English too, we say, oh, they're meeting at 10, or we might say they're meeting each other at 10. For whatever reason, we throw that extra thing in there. I don't know if it's always necessary, even in German, but it's something we do in English as well. We're kissing each other. Yeah, of course you are. We're meeting each other. I'm asking myself. Now, if I say I'm asking you, now that's different. Now that's not within myself. That's I have a question to you. Ich frage dich. Ich frage mich. That'd be different. Another one is, I don't think it's in the list though, but it's sich wundern, which is a great word. And it's more similar to ich frage, but like to be amazed about something, yeah? Like to wonder. Ich wundere mich. One that you see also. Good. All right. I'm going to post or either I'll just share it with all of you, whether you're online or if you're, I'm going to make this a little bit fancier. I kind of like the colors I went with here. They really pop. You can't beat this. Couldn't do this in Microsoft Word, not very easily. All right. Got lots of subjects, 4 subjects, 1 subject, 2 subjects, doesn't matter. Good. I'm going to write one more thing here at the top. So when there's a reflexive verb sentence, you'll have subject plus verb and I'm going to leave it out for the other things, but you'll just know, plus reflexive pronoun right there after the verb, and that's a statement. And in a question, you have the verb plus subject, then plus reflexive pronoun, and that equals a question. So I'm going to leave the reflexive pronoun out of these formulas down here, but still follows the same rules. But I'll go ahead and, just because I'm enjoying this, mainly. All right. Good. What time are we out? A couple of minutes, huh?
2 minutes or 6 minutes?
I think it's 2 minutes because, yeah. Okay, so I've still got one person hanging on. And Caden, Jace says to tell you hi. Good. And Jace, you may be the last person still viewing this video. Someone's there. I wish I could tell who's there. Huh. I bet it's probably, there were 3 for a while. Okay, I'll send out this link. You can watch this again if you want to. But also I'm going to send out, along with that, I'll send out the document that I just used there. Okay, so whoever's there, just sign you guys off.